All right, let's jump into our deep dive today. We're looking at Jeremiah chapter 6.
Right, a really intense chapter. It's got this very strong warning for Jerusalem, isn't it?
Definitely. Jerusalem, which the text calls the daughter of Zion. It's quite evocative.
hmm And our goal here is really to unpack why the text says this judgment is coming.
Yeah, get into the reasons, the imagery. It's pretty potent stuff.
It is. Let's get started.
So, it doesn't exactly start gently, does it? It's immediate alarm bells.
No kidding. Flee for safety. Sound the trumpet. It's urgent right from the get-go.
It feels like sheer panic. Flee Jerusalem, sound alarms. What's coming that's so terrible?
Well, the text makes it clear disaster looms out of the north. That's usually bad news in that region,
The
historically.
invaders. Yeah.
Exactly. Terrible destruction. And like you said, he calls Jerusalem the daughter of Zion, describes her as so beautiful and delicate right before dropping this bomb.
That contrast is really sharp. Beautiful and delicate, but facing total disaster.
It really sets the stakes. And it's not just some vague threat. It gets specific about the siege.
The part about the shepherds.
Yeah, shepherds with their flocks will come against her. They will pitch their tents around her. Using shepherds, normally a peaceful image, for invaders. It's unsettling.
It makes it sound so deliberate, like you're just moving in, setting up camp all around.
Completely surrounding her. And the text even gives us the attacker's mindset. It's relentless.
Prepare for battle. Let us attack at noon.
And then, no, wait, let's attack at night and destroy her fortresses. They're just determined day or night.
A total focus on destruction.
And it's methodical, too. Cut down the trees and build siege ramps.
Siege ramps? Okay, that's serious business. That takes time and effort.
Right. It tells you this isn't a quick raid. This is a determined, long-term effort to completely conquer the city.
So the threat is vivid, it's relentless, but then the text pivots, right? It asks why.
Yes, exactly. Why Jerusalem? And the answer is stark. The city must be punished because it is filled with oppression.
Filled with it. And that next line, wow.
Oh, yeah. As a well pours out its water, so she pours out her wickedness.
That's constant. Like, it's the city's very nature to produce wickedness.
Precisely. Not just occasional bad deeds, but a continuous source. And the results are everywhere, apparently.
Violence and destruction resound in her. Her sickness and wounds are ever before me. That's the divine perspective.
That's how it's presented, yeah. Seeing this constant brokenness, these unhealed wounds caused by all the wickedness and oppression.
Okay, so the warning's out, the attack is coming, the reason is this overflowing wickedness. Is there any off-ramp, any chance to change course?
The text does offer a warning moment. Take warning, O Jerusalem, or I will turn away from you. So it suggests a possibility, a conditional escape.
If they listen, but do they?
Well, that seems to be the problem. The text describes this deep resistance. To whom can I speak and give warning? Who will listen to me?
Their ears are closed so they cannot hear. That sounds like more than just ignoring it.
It does, like an inability or maybe an unwillingness to even receive the message. And it gets worse.
How so?
It says the word of the Lord itself is offensive to them. They find no pleasure in it.
Offensive. Wow, so the very thing that could help them is unpleasant.
Yeah, they actively dislike the message calling for change. It shows how deep the problem runs. They find the cure distasteful.
And this isn't just a few bad apples, is it? The text seems broader.
Much broader. It talks about systemic corruption.
Yeah.
From the least to the greatest, all are greedy for gain.
Everyone.
That's the claim. Prophets and priests alike all practice deceit. So even the supposed moral leaders are corrupt.
That paints a picture of a society that's rotten right through. Greed and deceit everywhere.
Exactly. And how are they dealing with these massive problems?
It-
Superficially.
This is the peace part.
They dress the wound of my people as though it were not serious. Peace, peace, they say, when there is no peace.
That's such a cynical image, like putting a tiny bandage on a huge wound and pretending it's okay.
It's deliberate denial, right? Glossing over the real danger, which just lets things get worse.
And this denial, this peace, seems connected to something deeper, a lack of shame.
Absolutely. The text asks, are they ashamed of their loathsome conduct? No, they have no shame at all. They do not even know how to blush.
They do not even know how to blush. That line is chilling.
Isn't it? It suggests they've lost their conscience entirely. Not just doing wrong, but losing the ability to even feel that it's wrong. A complete moral numbness.
So no shame, denial, actively disliking the call to change. What else?
Well, there's another key moment. An invitation is given. Stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient paths.
The ancient paths, like the original right way to live.
Exactly. Ask where the good way is and walk in it, and you will find rest for your souls. An offer of peace, of finding the right path again.
Sounds like a good offer, but based on what we've heard.
Yeah, you guessed it. The response is immediate and blunt, but you said, we will not walk in it.
Just, yeah, no. No explanation, just refusal.
Just refusal. A direct rejection of the foundational way being offered.
And it wasn't just a general invitation they ignored, right? Weren't there specific warnings, too?
There were. The text says, I appointed watchmen over you and said, listen to the sound of the trumpet. Specific messengers sounding the alarm.
Let me guess that there's not.
You got it. But you said, we will not listen.
So it's this pattern. Refusing the general path, refusing the specific warnings. It feels very deliberate.
It's presented exactly that way. A conscious, repeated choice not to listen. And that leads directly to the consequences.
Right, the text then calls on everyone else to watch what happens.
Therefore hear, O nations, observe, O witnesses. Hear, O earth, I am bringing disaster on this people, the fruit of their schemes.
The fruit of their schemes. So the disaster isn't random. It's portrayed as the direct result of their choices.
The inevitable outcome, because, as it says, they have not listened to my words and have rejected my law. Simple cause and effect, according to the text.
And any attempt to just, go through the motions of religion wouldn't cut it.
Not at all. The text dismisses it completely. What do I care about incense from Sheba or sweet calamus from a distant land?
Fancy, expensive ritual.
Meaningless, it says. Your burnt offerings are not acceptable. Your sacrifices do not please me. Outward shows don't work without interchange and obedience. You can't fake your way out of it.
Okay, so the scene is set. A city overflowing with wickedness, corruption top to bottom, denial, no shame, actively refusing to listen.
And the consequence is that unstoppable northern army we talked about earlier.
And the description gets even scarier now, right?
Yeah, it emphasizes the scale. Look, an army is coming from the land of the north, a great nation, from the ends of the earth. Huge, powerful, distant.
Not just a local problem.
No. And their character, brutal. They're armed with bow and spear. They are cruel and show no mercy.
Cruel and show no mercy. That's terrifying.
Absolutely. And their sound is like the roaring sea, this image of overwhelming, unstoppable chaos coming right for the daughter of Zion.
How did the people in Jerusalem react to just hearing about this?
Pure terror and despair. We have heard reports. Our hands hang limp. Anguish has gripped us, pain like that of a woman in labor.
Just utter hopelessness, weakness from fear, unavoidable agony.
Yeah, that pain like childbirth suggests something intense and inescapable is happening.
Which leads to this call for mourning.
Right, but it feels like mourning the inevitable. Oh, my people, put on sackcloth and roll in ashes, mourn with bitter wailing as for an only son.
Mourning like for an only son. That's the deepest grief imaginable.
It emphasizes the scale of the loss. And then, for suddenly the destroyer will come upon us. Suddenly, even though they were warned repeatedly.
Because they didn't listen.
Exactly. And then the chapter hits us with this final, really powerful metaphor.
The refining process.
Yeah. I have made you a tester of metals, and my people the ore, that you may observe and test their ways.
Okay, so God is the tester. The people are the raw ore being tested.
Right. And the test is intense, like a refining fire. The bellows blow fiercely to burn away the lead with fire.
That sounds like a serious attempt at purification. Using intense heat, like in a furnace, to get rid of the impurities, the lead.
It's an image of intense pressure, judgment, maybe the disaster itself, intended to purify them, to burn out all that wickedness we heard about.
A purging fire. But does it work?
Here's the gut punch. Despite the fierce fire, the text says, but the refining goes on in vain. The wicked are not purged out.
In vain. The fire wasn't hot enough.
It seems not. Or rather, the material couldn't be purified. The process fails. The wickedness, the impurities, they remain. They resist the fire.
So the people aren't transformed by this intense pressure.
That's the conclusion drawn, and the final label. They are called rejected silver because the Lord has rejected them.
Rejected silver.
Right.
Because the refining failed. The ore was tested, put through the intense fire.
Hoping for pure silver, something valuable. But it didn't purify. It stayed mixed with the base stuff, the impurities, so it's deemed unusable, rejected.
Wow, that is bleak. The rejection isn't arbitrary then, it's the result of failing this intense test, because the core nature wouldn't change.
That's exactly how it's presented. The intense process, the fierce fire, fails, not because the effort wasn't there, but because the ore itself The people's stubbornness, their refusal to change, that pouring out wickedness was fundamentally resistant.
It connects everything. The external disaster is a direct result of this internal state, this inability to be purified.
Absolutely. The judgment comes from who they are and their refusal to become anything different, even under extreme heat.
So wrapping up our look at Jeremiah 6, we started with that piercing alarm, the terrifying northern army.
Then we dug into the reasons, the overflowing oppression, the deep deceit, the shocking lack of shame,
And the flat-out refusal, rejecting the ancient paths, ignoring the watchmen.
leading to that final devastating image of the failed refining process.
The fierce fire burns, the bellows blow,
But the refining is in vain. The wickedness isn't purged.
and they end up as rejected silver. A really stark connection between actions, character, and ultimate consequence.
It really is. A picture of refusing to listen, refusing to change, leading to rejection.
So thinking about that final image, the intense refining fire that fails to purify, leaving behind rejected silver, what does that really suggest according to the specific text about how stubbornness works, or maybe the limits of transformation?
It's a tough question, isn't it?
Yeah. If even that fierce fire isn't enough, what does it say about the internal state? How might that idea of rejected silver challenge or maybe fit with other views you've come across about change, about purification, and why sometimes even intense efforts might not yield the results we expect? Something to definitely chew on.